going on, Internet? It is MJT. Today it's just the T and the J. Almost forgot the alphabet there for a second. But we just want to get together and talk some football. Talk about the Thursday night game and what we got to look forward to tomorrow, week 3. Lots of interesting matchups. Lots of like borderline must-win games for some of these teams. And the chat is open. Free comments, questions, whatever. We try to keep everything mostly positive. At least I do on the show. We're just looking forward to another great weekend of entertainment, action. We're sorry Mike can't be here. He is busy taking over the internet. But maybe tomorrow morning I'll get together with him, talk a little fantasy football before things kick off. Chargers going 3-0, baby. 3-0. Joe, how we doing?
We will talk about that Charger game, but I'm doing great, Tony. I appreciate you showing up today. Hey, I'm without a hat today. What the heck? I need to put a hat on. I don't know which one I want to take. I love both of these hats. Or I don't know. That's weird that I didn't have a hat on today, but that's 2 days in a row I didn't wear a hat. But week 3, Tony, I was thinking this yesterday. I go, I love football season, and we wait all year for the start, and we're already in week 3. Like, that's the crazy damn part. Like, why does – and everybody talks about how the end of the year just goes quick. Like, it's September 21st already. Do you remember the 21st night of September?
Like, and we were dancing the night away. Oh, yeah.
Mike was like, what the hell is that? Like,
Mike has no clue. Mike doesn't know anything good.
That's the crazy thing about football season is it just goes because Monday comes and you got Monday Night Football. And then you're like, damn, what am I going to do? I got to set my waivers. Then Wednesday is like a little down day where you're setting your lineup. And then Thursday football, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and your week flies by with football.
So that is where one of those like old time sayings is actually accurate. Time flies when you're having fun. And for football fans, it is the funnest time of the year. And that's why it goes by so quickly, right? Like you are the anticipation, right? I think the longest part of the week for me is when Thursday night football ends until Sunday morning, right? Because like basically Monday to get to Thursday, I'm sort of like sorting through. I'm still watching football because now with the invention of the NFL Plus app, I just go back through and watch a lot of the games. This week I didn't get to all of them because I'm busy working on Fifth Down .shop. Go check out and see if your favorite character's there. Your favorite player, your favorite guy. That's the Thorbert t-shirt we got in the background for Chargers fans. We also have Jim Harbaugh as the Harbolt. That's fun. But as we're going to on that, I didn't get to all the games that I wanted to get to. I got through about 8 or 9 of the ones that I wanted to see from last week. But it's just going by so fast because we enjoy it so much. I mean, even if it is sort of like what we talked about, this preseason football in September. And I think that this is something we're going to have to get used to seeing because the coaches are refusing to play their starters in the preseason. So then September becomes that time of year where it's like, hey, we're figuring things out. And teams are realizing we can start slower. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I would say more teams that have started 0-2 in the past like 10 to 12 years are getting closer and closer to figuring out how to make the playoffs. Is it get harder for them? Yes, 1,000%. It's harder. You're fighting an uphill battle, but they're figuring out that it's more important to be healthy than it is to get off to like a 2-1, 3-0 start. Like that's what's most important. Is like, how do I get my guys to still be healthy in November and December? And that's when we're going to be playing our best football and we're going to be winning football games.
Well, we'll get to it. There's one game this week that nobody's played in, and that's because of all the injuries. So we'll get to that game. Not sure if you know who I'm talking about, but we could start with Thursday night football, Tony. Like, you thought it was going to be a little bit closer. I think everybody knew the Jets was going to win this game, but Aaron Rodgers, like, when it came to Thursday night football and there's no prep for it, I was already thinking like veteran quarterback, going against a young defense, young head coach. I'm taking him all the way. And the Jets actually look like the team that they were supposed to be, right? On Thursday night. This is the first time we've seen the actual good Jets team.
Say it again, that last part.
I was saying we actually saw the good Jets team this week.
So, did we? Like,
they're playing the Patriots, so
exactly. And I think that's the thing where it's like I want to see them do this against another team because they were at home, and I will say that like people that I trust. Thank you. I was trying to get to that. That's why I was distracted. People that I trust were saying I've never seen MetLife like that for the Jets. Like the fans are showing up, they're rowdy, they're engaged, they feel like they actually have the right things in place. So it was a tough spot. Also, the penalty, I thought like there was a real shift in momentum, sort of team-wise. When Ramondre breaks that large run, but then gets called for that face mask and he has like the finger, he has to come out, he has to go to the medical tent, they lose him. That really sort of knocked the wind out of the sails. And it doesn't take much to knock the wind out of the sails of the Patriots. It's like you literally took away an explosive play and you took away their best player on offense. And now your best player on offense is probably Hunter Henry, Demario Douglas. Like, we're not talking about a ton to work with here, especially when the idea is like, hey, he's out of the game. Now we're going to go get the quarterback, and this offensive line, as admitted by the coach, was basically saying, like, we can't play Drake May in front of this offensive line, at least not to start the year. We got to figure some things out. These guys have to get on the same page. So, like, I think we saw him. The thing I took away most from this game, Joe, was, like, Aaron Rodgers, although not moving as smoothly as he was when he was 29, still looked pretty good at 40 years old. And that's exciting for the Jets fans. That's exciting for NFL fans. I want Aaron Rodgers to be in the playoffs. That game is something to look forward to in January if he's out there and balling. That's a lot of fun.
So let me ask you this, Tony. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are not on the same page right now, and they're not there. But when they get on that same page, how scary can they be? Because you could tell right now that's why he's going to Allen Lazard a lot more in it, and they also have the young back in Allen, the good young running back who's 20 years old, and he's out there and he's splitting carries now with Breece Hall. Once this offense gets going, like, do you think that we've seen the best Jets offense yet, or you think come midseason when all these guys are hitting on their cylinders, it's going to be real good?
No, we definitely haven't seen the best. I mean, it's only week 3 and they're still relatively new. But so I think the thing is like, can the offensive line stay healthy? We saw Morgan Moses leave. He gets rolled up on, and Olu Fashanu has to come in. I didn't really pay attention to see how well he played, but I'm assuming he played pretty good because I didn't notice him. The thing with Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers that we got to remember is like, Aaron Rodgers is a risk-adverse quarterback. He does not want to make mistakes. He's being covered by somebody who I think is maybe not right now, but will be a top 5 cornerback in the league in Christian Gonzalez. Aaron Rodgers tested him at the end, and that was slivers away from being picked and going in the other direction on the Garrett Wilson touchdown. So, like, I think if we end up in a situation where Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are finally on the same page, it's going to come later in the season. But the moment that they get sort of a ringer, like, we peg this guy as not being very good, they're going to go have a monster game against that cornerback. And everybody's going to be like, they've arrived. But every time he matches up against somebody that's really good, Aaron Rodgers is smart enough to not gamble with that until he knows, like, you understand the back shoulder. You understand all of my signals at the line of scrimmage, whatever it is. I go like this on my arm. You know exactly what that means. And I trust that you know what that means. So you're not going to make me look like a dipshit and throw an interception that gets going back the other way. So, like, even that play, James Jones talked about the touchdown to Allen Lazard. They showed a cut up of James Jones 12 years earlier, getting the same signal from Aaron on that smoke screen touchdown. He threw it to James Jones. He's still doing the same shit, throwing it to Allen Lazard. So it's like when Allen Lazard is that, like, why can't I fucking talk? When Garrett Wilson is as comfortable as Alan Lazard with Aaron Rodgers, that's when we start seeing the greatness happen. That's the fun part.
Tony, your boy's back this week. He says,
Rory.
good afternoon.
Rory, I hope you didn't copy any of those picks for any reasons last week. It was brutal.
Well, he said right here, he got the Jags-Browns game wrong. And remember I was talking about that game where I was like, I'm taking the Jags, but I feel bad about it. Like I feel like I'm going wrong. I was wrong.
I was wrong too. The Jags, I think, are, maybe headed to my new segment of the week.
That graveyard.
That graveyard. There is
if you got up at 1:20 in the morning to watch the Jets Patriots game, yeah, I feel really bad for you because it was a tough game. It was a tough game to watch.
It was a tough game, but I will say this. I think that the Patriots are not going to be far away from like a good offseason. They've got some money next year. Like one of the things that was surprising to me was Bill Belichick was talking about the Panthers situation. And he's like, the funny thing is he's like, they have no cap space this year to spend like during the season and no cap space next season going into it. Like the roster they have is essentially the roster they have. Like that's a bad sign. The Patriots are at least getting to sort of go through this year, see what they have with some of these young pieces, and they're going to get a chance to retool. And I think that they are pretty well coached and they have a big, strong quarterback that they're going to be able to turn over to. I don't think the Patriots are too far away from being a competitive, 500 football team. It's not this year, but next year going forward.
You mean it's been a long time since they've had Boston Tommy in there?
That is correct. They are far, far away from the days of like just chalk up the Patriots as 12-4, 13-3 type of situation. You want to talk about this Browns-Giants game, or do you want to do the primetime games first? What do you want? We got Rory here, and he seems to be a Jags fan. I don't know if he is or not, but that's the feeling I got.
Well, that's the cool thing about this week too is we have 2 Monday night games. So we can go straight. We can go in the order that it's in on the screen. I kind of screwed it up, but this is what happens when Mike's not here. We just do whatever the hell we want.
That's right. Here we go.
Got Jags-Bills.
Jags-Bills. This game is very, very interesting to me because the Bills get the extra days to prepare for this. They didn't get much of a fight on that Thursday night game either. Like guys were kind of rested, kind of packing it in. So they seem to be in a really good spot, even though they have suffered a lot of injuries on defense. We talked about it last week. McDermott just seems to get the most out of every player that ever puts on a Bills uniform, which is fantastic. The Jaguars, on the other hand, for me, I watch it and I go, how can this team be so mediocre with this much talent? Because Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. Like I can't fully comprehend it. So I'm taking the Bills to win this game. This is one of my favorite bets to picks against the spread this week. I do like the Jags plus 5.5 to keep the game close. And maybe it's a situation at the end where Trevor Lawrence, who I believe I saw stat is 2-0 when playing the Bills. So that's a positive thing for them. But I just can't pick Jacksonville on the road. Like I can't do it.
After 10 days rest for Buffalo. Like there's so much that's on Buffalo's side. Can the Buffalo Bills get Keenan Coleman going? Like I want to see Coleman catch some damn balls. Like we saw him on primetime last week. Now he's on primetime this week. Get your rookie the ball. That's what I want to see. Jacksonville, this is like one of the things that I didn't get. I guess because like you said, you see the talent on Jacksonville, but this is one of the teams that I didn't understand that people were hyping up going into the season. Like people were actually saying Jacksonville was a great team, that they were playoff caliber, maybe even Super Bowl caliber. And I was like, no, pump those brakes on some of these people. Like I didn't understand how they were putting Jacksonville above teams like Houston in their own division. And this is just another thing right here. 0-3 is going to be a big, big hole to climb out of for Jacksonville. So if they don't come out here and try to win this game and get this W, we can go ahead and write them off now. I would assume that because 0-3 is an unbelievable hole to just dig out of. And the Buffalo Bills are going to keep them down. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills to win this game too. Like I said, we knew that the Buffalo Bills would use James Cook, and we saw James Cook cook last week. Like I hate saying that, but he cooked. Like he was on fire last week. Like give him the ball, let him feed him in the end zone, and take a little bit of pressure off Josh Allen. Helps the Buffalo Bills.
The Keon Coleman situation was weird because they didn't have to. There was no need for them to even try and get the ball rolling last week. I do think the Jags defense has played pretty well this season. Ryan Nielsen, the defensive coordinator from the Falcons, is now the defensive coordinator there, and I think he's done a really good job. The Jags they're getting more pressure this year. Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker playing fantastic. I love the linebackers there for the Jags. So I think this could maybe be a tough day running the ball for James Cook, and maybe they do need to get Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman going a little bit more. I really like Shakir in this spot to have a nice night, sort of a rival as the Jets' number one wide receiver early on in the season, at least go to sort of that Cole Beasley, Austin Collie type role for Manning back in the day. We good to go to the other Monday night game. Anything else you want to say about this? No, got the thumbs up. Here it is. We are going to Cincinnati, rule the jungle. We do have a Joe Burrow t-shirt coming out pretty soon that I'm excited about. And I'll probably get one just because I think it's awesome. Bengals 0-2 on, if we really look at it, just a couple of brutal plays. The Tanner Hudson fumble in week 1 against the Patriots, I really think that kind of hurt and changed the momentum, the outcome of that game. And then you get the 12th man in Kansas City, like clockwork. Here comes a penalty. I get that technically that was a penalty and you gotta call it, I guess. I just don't think that was the reason that he didn't catch the ball. And then also too, like, doesn't the defender have some, like, a little gray area of right to go attack that football? Anyways, doesn't matter. Pass interference. Harrison Butker knocks it in from deep. They knock off the Bengals 0-2. This is another sort of, here we go.
They're always going to get it. And
out of the pet graveyard.
Your friend Rory from across the pond has just said that his favorite team is the Chiefs, and then you go and talk about the Chiefs, Tony. Like, it's pretty sad that you want the one guy we got in here watching for you, and only guy that actually comes to watch you, and you're going to talk about his team. But the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh damn! Someone wants to drive by quick. The Cincinnati Bengals. Now you want to show up. You wanted to show up in week 2, but you couldn't show up in week 1 when you cost everybody their survivor pool the first time. And you go out there, the only team you want to compete against was the Kansas City Chiefs. This is how the Bengals start off. They start off slow every year, and I'm not surprised that they are sitting at 0-2. Like, this is something that we've seen from the Bengals before, but it's just to get right. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow should have a big game on Monday night and keep it rolling. Even though I do like Washington, but I can't trust that defense against the veterans over there in Cincinnati. So I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game as well.
I like the idea of what Washington can be, but if you watch the game against the Giants, it was bad. Yeah, Rory, I appreciate you being a real one on this one, my friend. Thank you. Washington, I honestly don't think that this can even be like a really close game. Like, if we see the Bengals team from week 2 and not the Bengals team like week 1, the Bengals getting back T. Higgins and the way that Yeshivas has played early on this season, I'd like to see a little bit more Chase Brown, not just because I invested heavily in him in fantasy this past offseason, but also just he's a more explosive player than Zach Moss is. There's still a place for Moss in the offense. I just want to see more Chase Brown. Washington, a lot of issues. And I think Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard can have a real nice Monday night football game there. It'll be interesting to see how they play Jaden Daniels, right? Like, are we spying here? What are we doing to minimize this? Is this
where's Scary Terry been, Tony? Where's Scary Terry been?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a real. I mean, quarterback is hard, people. There's no touchdown passes from any of these rookies in the first 2 games. I think like the closest we got was Drake May in garbage time. Like got inside the
Yeah.
10 where I was like, "Oh shit, this guy might come in and throw a touchdown pass before Caleb Williams, who's played 8 quarters of football." Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals. I feel really confident about this one. If you didn't waste your survivor pick in week 1 on the Bengals and you're looking for a little get back, I feel pretty good about picking them at home Monday night in a situation where it's like we can't potentially fall 3 games behind the Steelers. Although I think the Steelers are catching it out this Sunday. That's me.
And I don't know if anybody is still alive in Survivor because I read something and I heard something that this is the worst year for Survivor pick'ems through the first 2 years since like 1980 or something like that. Because I guess the number 1 pick was the Bengals week 1 against the Patriots. And then last week, the top pick was the Baltimore Ravens over the Raiders. So those are the 2 favorite teams in Survivor have knocked people out. They said it's the worst it's been since 1980 is what I read.
It's one of those things where when you look at it and you're like, wait, these teams are like a touchdown favorite at home against these teams and they're losing. Like when you make the right play, when you make the right call and it doesn't work out, it feels so much worse than when you just make the gamble. Like you last week, you were like, your pick of the week was Anthony Richardson on the road against Malik Willis and the Packers. And it's like, that's a bit of a gamble to have essentially a rookie quarterback going on the road and you're betting on that. But you pick the Ravens at home against the Raiders, and you should take some offense to this, Joe. They had no business winning that game. That was ridiculous. When I watch that game, like some of the notes that I have there is like Colton Miller is not even on skates, Joe. He's just being thrown at the quarterback by these it
shows you don't need an offensive line to win games in this league. You don't Hey, just get used to the 7-on-7. Just get used to 7-on-7 and run around and throw the ball, and you'll be fine in the NFL.
There were some brutal reps in that game by your offensive line. Anyways, let's go
to quarterback play right here, Tony.
Yes, let's go to Cleveland here. This one I had trouble because I really kind of feel like the Giants could win this football game. I ultimately sided with Cleveland in the defense. I think we've yet to see Cleveland's defense really have that performance where it's like, holy shit, like these guys are really good. You know, they struggled with the Cowboys in week 1. Week 2, they get the win, but it wasn't like super dominant. What's going on, Harrison? Sorry, brother. It's a tough in your world right now. Cleveland's defense has a chance to come out and just kind of put this game away early. If they don't and they hang around, I saw some positive things from Daniel Jones last week. I thought that he actually played pretty good. It's not his fault that they lose a game where he doesn't have a kicker. Like he scored 3 touchdowns. It would have been nice to convert some 2-point conversions. I thought there's some play call questions I had there, you know, but again, when you give up on Saquon, maybe running's not the best option. The Browns side, I just gotta lean with like a Myles Garrett game here. Like we need to see one of those, like, you know, jumping over the line and blocking a kick type situations. I do like this as my second, Tony's locks of the week here is the Giants are getting 6.5 points on the road. And I don't really like Deshaun Watson to put up a ton of points against this Giants defense. I think this game is probably pretty close in the neighborhood of, 19-16, 19-13 type of a football game. And I'll take those 6.5 points.
Yeah. Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman. I don't know what the hell is going on there. They're trying to figure out who's running that ball there in Cleveland. We all thought it was going to be Jerome Ford. Amari Cooper has yet to get going this season. When Jerry Jeudy's outperforming you on your offense, that's pretty damn sad. The New York Giants, Danny Dimes did do something that got me last week because I put a bet that he would throw an interception, and I did not win that bet. So that sucked. Danny Dimes, please don't do that again this week. Please throw that interception so we can all make some little bit of money. But I'm with you, Tony. I'm going with the Cleveland defense over it until the New York Giants can show us something like any little bit of life. Like it's going to be a long season for them as well.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I really do think they did. They showed something. I watched that game last week, and I was like, "Hey, they got something going here." I know it's against Washington, and I don't think very highly of that defense, offensive line for Washington. But like, they should have won the game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they should have.
Should have won the game.
But you played Washington. Like, I mean, are we really going to get like you're going to say they look better, but you're going to say their opponent is not that good either. But something's going on in New York. Their GM, we saw it all year with the shows that they had, the Hard Knock shows, and now we get to the like we talked about it. We were like, this GM is probably not that good at his job, and now we get to the regular season 2 weeks in a row. You're not filling out your whole 53-man roster. You knew your kicker was hurt on Friday, and you didn't elevate another backup kicker or have a backup plan for a kicker. Like, how do you still have a job when your only job is to fill a 53-man roster every damn week? And you're not even doing that.
When I heard that, I was like, the only reason this man is keeping his job is because Saquon dropped a football on Monday night and cost like the owner was like, he needed some sort of like saving grace from like, why don't I just march in here right now and be like, dude, look at what you've done. Look what's going on. And Saquon just caught a game-winning, game-clinching pass, maybe a touchdown, if he decides to take it to the house on that final play. It would have been brutal. I got the Browns
right now. I don't know if you've seen that, Tony, where Saquon's catching the ball. There's a great meme going around right now where Saquon's trying to catch the ball and it's going right through his hand. And he goes, if I send you this, it means I'll catch you later.
If I what?
If I send you this, it means I'll catch you later. I don't know if you got it. It's like a young thing, but I thought it was funny anyway.
Yeah, no, I get it. I like that one a lot. I'm not as young and hip as everybody else. I got to get better on the socials.
If you guys are in the chat right now, there's a lot of you guys watching. Go ahead while we're going through the games. Go ahead and put your predicted winner in there as well. So you guys are going New York or Cleveland. Let us know so we know what side of you guys are on too.
Love it. I love the interaction too. I want to hear who people have in these games.
I don't want to talk to Harrison. I'm waiting because Harrison. That's why I kind of put the Raider game late because we already know her. We already know.
Yeah, I'm not going to be as harsh on the Panthers. Some people I've seen on TV, which is just fucking brutal. We got Colts. We got Bears. Indianapolis weekend. I did not watch the game. I watched the highlights. I did not watch the game of Indianapolis at Green Bay because I really like Anthony Richardson. I am 100% rooting for this young man to succeed. And a few of the clips that I saw, I was just like, it's getting worse than I imagined it to be when they said he was missing some of these throws. I'm just like, do we got the yips? I'm not smart enough to be able to understand why these passes are so bad, but they were terrible. We need a bounce back. I'm picking the Bears in this game, Joe, because of the defense. The defense is a little more susceptible to running, so maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor. Hey, we really need a game before Irsay falls off the deep end situation. So, like, we got to find a way to get a win here at home. I was close to picking the Colts, but I do think that this is a game where they can. The Colts are bad at stopping the run. The Bears haven't got the run going. So if Shane Waldron wants to get this ball rolling, let's get Khalil Herbert involved in this game. Let's get DeAndre Swift going. Let's run the football against this team and have some easy play action bootlegs. I think this is going to be the Caleb Williams. Everybody take a step back and settle down. Like, stop this. Is Caleb a bust bullshit after 2 games? Like, he's going to be a solid quarterback, I believe, in the NFL. Solid to great quarterback in the NFL. And I think that this is going to be the week where people are going to start going, all right, we're back on the Bears hype train.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when you're the number one overall pick, you have a lot of haters out there, Tony, and people are going to want you to fail, and that's what it is. Tony, sorry, I'm right here, Colts. We got the Browns, or we got the Colts right here. Amber saying, "Oh, Tony, I'm loving that. Defense can do it." So, look, everybody hates on Caleb Williams. Everybody wants to see Caleb Williams fail. That's the thing. There's a lot of haters out there. I don't. I like what Caleb Williams did. I like them at USC. And I think there's just too much pressure on quarterbacks. And there's been a lot of talk about it now, where even Tom Brady has come out and said we're putting too much on these first-year quarterbacks. And that's what you need to do. How do you calm your quarterback down? You run the damn ball. Run the damn ball, get it going, and take the pressure off of them. I'm with you. I think the Bears win this game just because of their defense. And I'm 100%, 100 fucking percent, Tony, done with the Indianapolis Colts after last week, after they screwed me over. I'm done with them. Anthony Richardson and the Colts, I will never, ever pick you up again. I'm done with them. I'm done with the Colts.
Yes, yeah.
I have Jonathan Taylor on my fantasy team. If you're watching and you're in my fantasy league, come get him, because I'm done with the damn Colts.
I think the Colts still have a lot of good players. It's a part of the reason I stayed away from Michael Pittman this year, because I was unsure about how things were going to work out there. I didn't really draft anybody from the Colts except for Anthony Richardson because of the rushing, and Jonathan Taylor because of his rushing ability. Pass catchers, I stayed away. Amber, quick shout out here. Thank you for stopping by, hosting a tremendous fantasy show, which I was listening to during dinner the other day. I forgot the name of it. So if you're in here, put it in the chat so I can shout it out properly. But excellent. Excellent.
So the Bears went from Luke Getsy to Waldron.
What is it?
The Bears went from Luke Getsy last year to Waldron, and they're having the same issues.
Yeah, I mean, we have to factor in too that the Bears have also played the Titans. Very good defense. Like this is pursuit after the quarterback, secondary plays together. They play nicely. And then they play the Texans, another well-coached, aggressive defensive football team. The beating, Queen's Ransom. There it is. Go find him on YouTube. She does an excellent job. Excellent work. The beating that Caleb Williams took in the game was it just you watched it and you're like, dude, you can't survive like this. The way the offensive line was playing, but they also just didn't respect the run. So they got some stuff to figure out. I believe that they will figure it out this week. I think the Bears get into the win column, and unfortunately, Colts fall to 0-3 in a close one here.
Do you make anything of Caleb Williams at the end of the game, kind of like brushing off CJ Stroud?
No, I don't. Like, it's one of those situations where it's like CJ was giving him actually like really good advice, but in that moment when you've just lost and you're leaving the field, you don't want to hear that shit. And it is brutal. I think Caleb actually handled it better than people are. Like, all of a sudden, did you notice how like everybody online is like body language experts? You know, like they run there. It's like, look at the way Aaron Rodgers is looking at him with contempt and despise when he shoves away Robert Saleh. He hates this man with every fiber. Yeah, he might not like him, but like your analysis of somebody's look, you haven't worked 2 decades for the FBI. So I'm in Caleb's situation. I look at it and go, okay, it's a tough spot to be in. You don't want to hear that shit. You understand it. You just got wrecked. Your offensive line got wrecked, and you still had a chance to win that game late. So while I think neither party was necessarily wrong, I kind of wish CJ, who I'm pretty sure has his number or could get his number, would have called him offline and been like, hey, man, this, and this. You don't need to do that. Good game.
Not every player is the same. Not every player shuts it down right at the end of the game. I'm with you. I saw the same. What I saw is I didn't see disrespect. I just saw a guy who's pissed off that he lost and doesn't. I'm just going to get out of here, get done. Yeah. So I'm with you. I didn't take that as, I didn't see that as anything wrong with what Caleb Williams did. It's just like I actually liked it because I was like, damn, he's pissed off that they lost. That's good.
Yeah, I was totally fine with it. Joe, let's move on here. Let's talk about the Vikings and my MVP, Sammy B, right here. Woo! There it is. The man doesn't see ghosts, he is ghosts. He's everywhere. He's just killing people. The Vikings beating the 49ers. I think that also had to be a little bit of what is it? The guillotine. What are they called again? The Survivor. There we go. Look at that. I'm so out of touch with everything that's cool right now. Survivor picks had to be the 49ers, even though they were on the road, because people just don't ever believe in Sam Darnold. He's going to get back-to-back weeks to prove that all he needed was some competent coaching. Now, I will say this. He got lucky. There should have been a couple of plays last week where that game could have ended up very differently. The ball bounced his way on 2 or 3 interceptions, some weird lateral pass. Like, there was one of the notes I wrote down for the 49ers last week was like they got like one bounce to go their way the whole game. Everything else went in favor of the Vikings that I saw where I was like, hey, this is a momentum shifting play. And the Vikings got like 4 out of 5 of those. And that was ultimately the difference in the game. Not to mention the 49ers were dropping like flies. But in this matchup, I like the Texans to win, even though I'm hyping up the Vikings in this spot. I think that the Vikings are still going to be a team that's viable and sort of around that 9-10 wins this season. But there's something different about when I watch the Texans. They still haven't fully put it together on offense, which they're going to at some point, I believe, like with that many receiving weapons. Like even if somebody gets hurt, they're still bringing in guys like John Mechie, the Hutchinson kid that plays wide receiver and special teams for them is another solid. Like, they have so much depth at that position, and Nico Collins is a beast. I forget Dalton Schultz is on the team, and then he makes a big play. It's like I really think the Texans have a chance to kind of hit a stride here, where we talk about them as like, oh, this is the team that's going to dethrone the Chiefs in the playoffs this year. Like that's going to be a lot of the conversation. And now I don't think they blow out the Vikings, but I'm gonna take Houston on the road to go to 3-0.
Brian Flores starting to get more of the respect that he deserves for that Minnesota defense. Year 2 of it, everybody's getting the flow of it. You talked about how Minnesota got the bounces going their way last week, and the 49ers didn't. Only one thing came to mind when you were saying all that. Fuck the Niners. I don't give a damn what happens to them. And, I'm glad Minnesota got the calls over there. But I think this is actually a good game. Joe Mixon should be out this game, right? It's going to be a Cam Akers show, which I'm excited to see Cam Akers back because I root for Cam Akers. He's never been on one of my favorite on my team, but just watching a guy who goes through injuries and fights his way back to the NFL is something that everybody should be rooting for. So I would like to see a big game out of Cam Akers. I think I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings in this game, Tony. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. I think they pull the win at home. Brian Flores' defense. I'm trusting Brian Flores' defense. It's not more of the Sam Darnold and the offense. It's just what I'm liking from the defense over there. And like you said, Houston's offense hasn't been able to get it going 100% yet. And so I think this is early enough in the season that the Vikings can pull a game off like this.
It's interesting to see if he blitzes as much against somebody like CJ Stroud, because I think CJ's pretty good at identifying the answers. But we'll get a chance to see how that plays out. I want to give a shout out to Daria Agumbawale because he's going to snipe a touchdown from Cam Akers to everybody starting him this year. He's going to do that. And then my last shout out is for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the GM of the Vikings. This offseason, he went out and got players, and people were like Van Ginkel, Cashman, like Grenard over Hunter. He has assembled a team of young guys who can get after the rusher, play good, smart, whatever Flores is asking him to do. And he made a lot of good pickups. The defense, you're right. Brian Flores, he's got to overcome this whole Tua stigma of basically bullying a human being. And he's in a tough spot right now. But Brian Flores should definitely be imagine if Flores was the coach of the Panthers. Now that's a tough spot for Bryce Young to be in, but I just think it would just be a different atmosphere and team and competitiveness and everything if they had that guy. No way to prove it, just speculation. I'm a fan. That's what we do here. That's why the chat's open. Let's go. We already got the Jalen Hurts t-shirt up here. Eagles, after a brutal loss, this is the spot where it's like Sirianni has to be thinking, man, I need a win here. Because that call on Monday night, I text with so many people where I was like, you absolutely cannot throw the ball. I do not care if the play was actually correct. I do not care that Saquon should have caught it. You should have 3rd and 3, and you have the 4th and short king, which you can also buy those t-shirts at Fifth Pound .shop. Jalen Hurts, just sneak it twice. Run the football. Get the first down. End the game. Like, I just don't understand why you would greenlight that play in that moment to leave that much time on the clock. Like, it didn't make any sense. I'm picking the Saints, not because of anything. Like, I still think the Eagles are a good team. I think the Eagles win 10 games this year, 11 games this year. I'm fine with the Eagles. I had the Saints left for dead, but when I've watched 2 weeks in a row now where the defense is playing outstanding and the offense they're working in ways that I didn't think was possible. Like, I just didn't see this kind of excitement from them last year. It's way different.
Has anybody dropped further from the top than Kellen Moore has the last couple of years? Like,
no.
When he was the Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator, he was up high. Oh, the brightest young guy in the game, going to get head coaching jobs. Went to the Chargers, and now the Eagles, and it's just like, where you at, Kellen Moore? Run the damn ball. Run the damn ball, Kellen Moore. That's all you got to do, and it's on Nick Sirianni to overall. But, Tony, one stat that I threw to you this week, and I'm glad you went with it. I'm glad you went with the Saints because New Orleans has come out that said in the last 18 days since football season started and the New Orleans Saints are 2-0, there hasn't been one murder in the city of New Orleans. So winning football saves lives down there. Derek Carr was sent there from the heavens to save New Orleans. Derek Carr and the Saints have not scored on any of their drives this year. Every drive that they've had has ended in either a touchdown or a field goal, something that is unbelievable and we haven't seen. They've also have played the Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers, so we got to put this out there. But I think this week you need to watch your back in New Orleans because I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game.
Oh, okay. Like, I get it. There's definitely sort of could turn back into a pumpkin moment at any day now. But when I watch the Eagles, I keep going, you don't stop the run. You had trouble tackling. Bijan Robinson was averaging that's my quarterback. Bijan Robinson was averaging 9 yards a carry. And you're going to get Alvin Kamara, potentially Jamal Williams in this game. You're going to get a lot of run. And then over the top, we're asking them to go defend Olave and Shaheed. I don't like this spot at all. I think the Saints building is going to be rocking. This is not New Orleans is -2.5. And that's the side I'm taking. I think they can win this game by 3, potentially more. Let's go to Pittsburgh. My Bolts are there playing, stayed on the East Coast all week to be saved up. There's been worry about whether or not that Easton Stick. That's right. Hold that clipboard, Stick. Way to go, brother. Hold that tablet, whatever they're doing.
He ain't holding that clipboard.
This, it seems like Herbert's going to play. If he doesn't, obviously I feel different. I'm taking the Chargers in a close game. They've won the first 2 by double digits. I don't think that's the case here. I do believe that if they can get to the fourth quarter, because to me, the real matchup is the interior parts of the defensive line. The Pittsburgh Steelers being able to have Hayward and Benton and Ogunjobi. There's another play. I think DeMarvin Leal. They just have a lot of interior rushers. That's questions for me, Chargers interior offensive line. And then you still have to worry about matchups on the outside with Watt and Highsmith versus Slater and all. So I think that it's just an ultimate sort of 90s football game, and I'm here for it. I love this kind of football. I love to see the way the Chargers are playing. I think they're going to be able to run the ball enough in this game and get down end of the fourth quarter. Herbert guts it out, gets him in field goal range. Chargers win the game 16-13. Who do you got, Joe? Don't break my heart on this one. Who do you got?
Everything I've been reading and I even watched Ian Rappaport talking about today, it doesn't sound good for Herbert. They said that he can't even put weight on his ankle at practice. And to run him out there in this game, I think would be not a great idea for the Chargers, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs next week. When you're in the NFL, you don't want to look forward. You want to try to win as many games as you can. But sometimes you just got to sit some people, Tony. Sometimes you got to do it. And it would look horrible to have Easton Stick out there. And Easton Stick out there, we've already seen what happens with it. But before I even knew about the Justin Herbert injury, I'm already taking the Pittsburgh Steelers because I'm looking at Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin's looking across it, and he's seeing Harbaugh, and he's like, another Harbaugh? Easy win for me. And we might not have seen what the Pittsburgh Steelers can, but that defense is what they rock with. And the Pittsburgh Steelers is defense against this Charger offense where all they got to do is stop the run. And that's the one thing that the Raiders weren't able to do or for the whole fourth quarter was stop the run. And that's the one thing the Carolina Panthers weren't able to do was stop the run. But you're going to tell me right now that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best defense that the Chargers will face this year or have faced so far this year, and you're going to tell me that they can't stop Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins or anybody back there? It's not like the Steelers will be able to go one-on-one with your wide receivers. There's nothing about that scares them. So they're going to load it up, and they're going to have their defense, and T.J. Watt's going to have a game this week as the Steelers somehow miraculously start 3-0.
So Joe, according you said Rap Sheet was pessimistic an hour ago. There's optimism. Chargers QB Justin Herbert plays this weekend per at Rap Sheet. You need to update and get back together with your sources. Herbert's going to play in the game. I strongly believe that he's going to find a way to be the difference maker at the end of the game. And their offense it's like a rock rolling downhill, Joe. It's going to be slow to start, and then eventually it just chips away. You can only have so many times where you're dedicated to the run, and eventually the defensive line, you're just wearing them down. Sure, it starts off. They did the same thing to your Raiders, Joe, where like first half, Raiders defensive line is playing great. Second half, it just weighs on you, and you keep on running. You find that little slip. Somebody doesn't have their run fit perfectly. JK cuts back, boom, big gain. I think Gus Edwards plays a part in this football game too. When they sneak up to come Minkah Fitzpatrick, bring him to the box, they will find ways to take a shot downfield. QJ making a big play last week against a very good cornerback and JC Horn. I'm excited about it. Is it the most like eye-popping football that you're ever going to see this weekend? No. Is Justin Herbert probably going to throw for around 125, 140 yards again? Yeah, probably. Don't matter. Get the win, be 3-0, and I can't wait. Already I am my tickets for week 4 with my son. We're going to go root on the Bolts against the Chiefs. Let's move on because my mission.
You want to move on before I said anything about Herbert, huh? He's been running around at practice, Tony. Is what this guy says. Running around at practice.
Yes.
You mean hobbling his ass around at practice?
Whatever. You're just a hater. I expect you to be that way. My Michigan Wolverines are on, Joe. We're gonna speed this up a little bit. They're playing the Trojans right now.
Who gives a damn? The Wolverines suck.
I might have just end this show right now. We won't even talk about how shitty the Raiders are going to be against Andrew Dalton. Cardinals, Lions. Cardinals, I think, have been the surprise team to many to start this season. I think they caught the Rams in a good spot, extremely banged up. They are playing really well. This is a chance to make it seem real. If they win this game, I had them being like sellers. Remember in the preseason, we talked about which teams could be sellers with an extended trade deadline. I was like, maybe they look to see, like, can we get a 4th-round pick for Dennis Gardeck? Can we get a 4th or 5th round pick for James Conner to a team like the Cowboys who might like really need a running game going into the playoffs. That doesn't seem to be the case. Like, if they're going to be hanging around and this team's going to have this much fight, this much competitiveness, the offense looks way better, faster than I thought that it would. Kyler Murray seems to be fully back. I'm going to take the Lions in a close game here. The Lions threw the ball 55 times with Jared Goff last week in a game where Vita Vea left early. Kalijah Cansey's out of the game. There's no Winfield. And they were throwing the ball 55. Like, I just did not understand the game plan at all. There was like complete and total panic. Like the week before, they went into overtime and it was like, this is full on David Montgomery time. And they just smashed the ball against the Rams all the way home. And then when it was the fourth quarter against the Bucs, they just kept throwing the football. I'm like, run the ball. You guys can win. I'm rooting for the Lions in the game, and it's just not happening. I think they get back to that. I think there's an opportunity to maybe get Laporta a little more involved in this game, but really just reestablishing the run here. I like the Lions to get back on the winning track here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What happened to Laporta? What did he do to Johnson to get out of that offensive game plan? But it's still early in the season, and the one thing about the Arizona Cardinals is, yes, their offense is starting to look good, and went from week one where you missed Marvin Harrison wide open to Marvin Harrison breakout game. Like, and that's the thing. Like, remember Murray said it's not my job to give him the ball, and then next week it's like he's having a good game. It's like, so you like that, but I just think Detroit as a whole, as a team, they're going to bounce back this week, go in there, and just too much for that Arizona defense. Even though that offense is surprising, like you said, it's surprising that Arizona offense is doing their thing, and their defense just needs to get right on par. And this is one of the teams that I told you, like, they have a tough schedule to start out, is the Arizona Cardinals. And like you said, they were able to pull that one off with the Rams, and we'll talk about the Rams in just a few minutes. But I can't go against Dan Campbell, Tony. I can't, and I forgot to pull that one up, but we can't go against Dan Campbell.
Yeah, have a CDC, Motor City Dan Campbell right there on fifthdown.shop. Lots of fun gear for you guys to sport this year during the football season. The Ben Johnson thing is like, he got killed for not taking the job in Carolina. All of a sudden it looks like, hey, I don't feel like he did the wrong thing. I feel like he did the right thing, just maybe in the wrong order. Dodge that bullet. We already got the CD, the Lamboy t-shirt up here. 88.
Okay, just in time, Tony. Felke just in time.
Felke still recovering. Oh yeah, he's 21 now? Got a hangover? No, I think Felke.
No, he's recovering because he's a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Cowboys, Ravens. This is a game where I think that the Ravens need this game so desperately.
Oh my God.
But I'm still going to pick the Cowboys to win the game. Like, I don't know exactly what I saw last week from the Cowboys defense. It definitely just did not. Whatever was going on with the Saints and the way that they had the run game going, it messed up anything that they ever had in the pass game. Like, they became so worried that they couldn't rush the passer. Then they were like over pursuing on certain plays, getting, still getting gashed. Pass run did not matter what it was. Saints killed them. I think the Cowboys rebound at home. I don't think that they can start off the season 0-2 in Jerry's world, right? You can't lose back-to-back games. And there's just still some problems with the Ravens rotating offensive tackles. Don't love to see that. Want to see a little bit more consistency from the Ravens defense, especially against the pass. So I think it's a must-win for the Ravens, but I'm going to take the Cowboys at home in a close game.
So 2 weeks in a row, Tony, and I've sent you videos like this of the Ravens offensive line, where the Ravens offensive line is just basically doing the lookout blocks every damn play. And if you don't know what the lookout block is, it means if you just go like this and you go, look out, like you yell at your quarterback because you ain't blocking shit. And he has to take off back there. Big Truss is running around. And I like what Rory's saying right here. The result in this game is going to put one of these teams in turmoil. And we talked about it with the Dallas Cowboys all preseason, where we thought they weren't going to be as good as everybody was building them up to be, that maybe not even a playoff team. So if that happens in Dallas, and the Dallas Cowboys, if you look at their last two games, last week and the playoff game, they've given up 40+ points at home in Jerry's world, the one that you're talking about, that they're not putting up the performances in their own stadium. And this right here is a big game for both. And everybody talked about how Derrick Henry and the Ravens, all the Ravens needed was Derrick Henry. No, they need some offensive line help. Their offensive line is horrible. But I'm looking at this game, and I don't know why. I think that's just because I'm a Dallas Cowboy hater, and I'll come out and say that. But I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to lose this game too. And this is what I've been waiting for, Tony. This is what I've been waiting for, and I've talked about it. I didn't see that video. That's kind of crazy that you're actually talking about that. But anyways, this is what I've been waiting for. We talked about if the Dallas Cowboys were 1-2, maybe 0-3, if we would start seeing the little fights and the breakup of the team, and that's what I've been rooting for. I want to see the Dallas Cowboy dumpster fire this year. So I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens.
I won't be shocked. I didn't know who to pick. I settled with the home team in this spot. The Ravens secondary has just been giving up some weird miscommunicating explosive plays, and I think that there's an opportunity for Cooks, Tolbert, and Lamb to put up some big numbers. I do think that there is potential for a very high scoring, fun game. This is the sort of game that fans seem to want to see.
Yeah.
Let's go to the game Joe alluded to at the beginning of the show, where this is just the most injured football game that I can't remember this many really good players this early in a season not being on the field. I'm picking the 49ers in this game, but I won't be shocked if the Rams find a way to win the football game because the amount of injuries on both sides of the football. Can Sean McVay get to a spot where he's, just playing sort of ball control style, right? We're running the football. We're playing, keeping everything in front of us on defense. We're tightening up in the red zone, trying to make them kick some field goals here. We're playing the run really well. Can he get the defense and the team to just sort of play on this? Let's just keep it close and let Matthew Stafford go try and make some miracles with DeMarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, Whittington, the rookie. There's just not a lot there left. I am taking the 49ers, but I don't feel great about it. There's just so many injuries.
And this is a home game for the 49ers, even though it says at Rams in SoFi Stadium. You already know that it's going to be a sea of red in that stadium. This is just ugly. I was looking at the injury report and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I feel, who I feel bad? Not for the teams, because injuries happen and you got to next man up. I feel bad for everybody who spends their hard-earned money to go to this game, and you're basically paying to watch a preseason game between these two teams. That's what you're getting out of it. And you're paying top dollar because this is one of the highest priced games in the NFL this year, Tony. It was the Rams and the 49ers in SoFi Stadium, and you're getting the game that I think you're not going to get the top teams, and that's what's crazy. But I understand what the Niners are doing. You got to rest your guys till the end of the year. You got to get them healthy, and you can't take. It's good that now we're actually seeing teams take injuries serious, especially hamstring injuries. Remember where they would be like, "Oh, he'll be back next week," and then he injures it and he's out for the whole season. Now they're like, "Oh, it's a hamstring injury, IR, put him out for 4 weeks. Good, let him heal it up and get it ready." So it's a tough game for me to pick, and I'm still going to take the San Francisco 49ers to win this game. Yeah, just because there's so many. I don't know. I just flip a coin and I go like this, and I go, all right, 49ers are winning.
Yeah, the 49ers, this is the thing. When we talk about the 49ers and how stacked they really are, they're missing a lot of people, but then they still have Fred Warner and Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk. They still have they still have way more talent on the field. And Shanahan has traditionally, at least in the regular season, owned this matchup. I think if memory serves, Kyle Shanahan has been a lot better. McVay won the big one in the NFC Championship game, which allowed the Rams to go on and win that Super Bowl a few years ago. But yeah, it's just a weird game, and I am thinking about the 49ers after a loss in which like Purdy has now struggled twice against Brian Flores defenses. He has struggled with when you blitz him that much, he has a little trouble identifying things with the crazy looks that Brian Flores gives him. Falcons coming off a big Monday Night Football win. Like they celebrated in the locker room like they had just made it to the Super Bowl. I don't even know what that was. I felt like that was a gift. There was still a lot of moments where Kirk Cousins is like, he's got his receiver, he's open, the ball's late. Like even like when I was watching the Manning cast, and it's the thing I like about the Manning cast is they confirm a lot of times what it is that I'm seeing, and I'm not as smart as other people, not as knowledgeable about football. But when you're like, wait, shouldn't that ball have been on the outside shoulder? There's still a little bit of like timing, rhythm, like issues with this. They're at home, but I think winning that game takes a lot of pressure off everybody. I think they're going to be able to play really well at home. With that being said, I'm still taking the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I know the Chiefs lost Pacheco, Hollywood Brown isn't there, Kelsey struggled. I think that ends this week. We're going to get to see Xavier Worthy on turf. I think there's going to be some fun plays drawn up for him in this game to really get out there, flex that speed. Patrick Mahomes plays really well indoors. Travis Kelce's going to be able to have his first big game of the season here. And I like the Chiefs to come out on top. I do think Bijan Robinson also has a very nice game in there. I think you can run against the Chiefs. I think he will do that. But ultimately, I'm going to side with Patrick Mahomes over Kirk Cousins in this one.
And Rory's saying that he thinks the Falcons might pull an upset over the Chiefs this week, and he's a Chiefs fan, right? That's what he just said earlier.
Yeah, he's a Chiefs fan. Well, let's get that Mahomes. Here we go. There you are, Rory. We got a bunch of different styles of Patrick Mahomes as the Grim Reaper. Head over on to
and we haven't seen the best Chiefs team this year, Tony. Like the Chiefs have struggled just like everybody else. And it's, I mean, we love it because we're in the AFC West and we'd like to see the Chiefs struggle and we hope it continues. But we already know that it's not. Losing Isaiah Pacheco hurts. So now that we got to find out who's going to be their running back this year. Is it going to be Steele? Is it going to be Perrine? Or are they going to bring up Kareem Hunt for the practice squad and get that going? Is how much of that not having a running back? But we've seen that from the Chiefs. They've been able to just put running backs in there and go and get the best out of them. So I'm not. That's interesting right there. But the Atlanta Falcons, hey, we said it wasn't the same Kirk Cousins, and last week he proved that it wasn't the same Kirk Cousins. Why? Because he won in primetime, which he never does. We never see Kirk Cousins win in primetime. But I can't sit here. This is a Sunday night game, right? This one right here?
Yeah, it's Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm not going against Andy Reid and that team in Sunday Night Football. They got some plays mixed up. You're going to see some huge plays. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one. To go 2-0 with Kirk Cousins in primetime. Like we're smoking some good stuff if we're doing that.
Really pushing it. I just think the Chiefs haven't been good yet. They will be good. And I personally would like them to build some momentum, feel like they're feeling really good, really have their chest puffed out. So when they go in and they have to actually play a physical football team in week 4, the Chargers are just like, they're like, oh shit, we're tired. We aren't ready for this kind of a fight. We aren't ready for 4 quarters of just getting, beat on. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Broncos.
I mostly believe what I just said. Let's go. Let's head on over to Tampa. Get the Bucks at home. I heard somebody say that like all the smart money this week is on Denver, and I'm like, why? How is that possible? Like, I don't understand how if you're at home, and I get that the Steelers are a very good defense. The Bucks are also a good defense. Like, even though they're missing Vea, they're potentially, I don't know if they're missing Cansey, potentially missing Winfield. Like, they're still a team coached by a defensive coordinator who wants to play a certain way. And Baker Mayfield is taking steps in the right direction. I think Baker Mayfield threw the ball like 19 times last week in that win over the Lions. They're committed to running the football. They're committed to playing a certain way style, and it's working out for them. I like the Bucks at home. I don't know. Like, I think the Broncos are just a ways away in this spot right here. Like, it's very tough for Bo Nix to come in and be really, really good. A lot of people took shots at Russell Wilson last year, but he still has 10 years of NFL experience. Bo Nix doesn't have 10 years of that. He doesn't have that in his corner. So there's going to be some issues. Like, even Bo Nix seemed so defeated when they were like, "What'd you see on that end zone play?" He's like, "I dropped back. I threw it to the wrong team." Like, he just seems just beaten down by what's going on early in the season. I still think Bo Nix is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Like, he's got Sean Payton in his corner. Sean bet on him. Sean's got sort of a little stake and reputation in this. I think they're going to figure it out. I don't think it's going to be on the road against the Bucks.
Yeah, I don't know why people are saying Denver's going to win this game either. I look at it and I'm like, no, because Baker Mayfield's still playing, right? Wide receivers for the Buccaneers are still playing. Like, what about this offense is making me change? Like, the Denver Broncos defense, to me, both picks.
I didn't see that one. That's
a good one. The Denver Broncos defense, to me, is why I lose it. Maybe Bo Nix finally gets it going in this game, but I don't think he does. So I'm taking the Buccaneers to win this game until the Broncos can prove that their offense can move the ball and score touchdowns consistently. Then I'm staying away from the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm not taking a rookie on the road to get his first win against a team that I think, like in the preseason, I said I was debating between the Rams, the Bucks, and the Lions for the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go ahead and think that the Broncos figure it out this weekend on the road there. Tennessee, Green Bay gets a huge win at home with Malik Willis. This was that, like, I don't know. I don't think I talked about this then, but the way that Green Bay won the game, again, like I said, I didn't watch the game, but the way that they won the game, just looking at the numbers, it's like, wait, how did Indianapolis not prepare better for that attack? I think if they come in this game with the same exact game plan, and I don't think that Green Bay is playing Jordan Love. I haven't looked at any of this stuff, but I just think that knee injury will keep him sidelined. I do not think you want to send him out there on a hobbly knee against Jeffrey Simmons on the road. That just feels like a bad idea to me. Again, I don't know. I'm going to take the Titans at home. Will Levis is on a very, very short plank here, God, where he could get nudged off the end at any moment. I would not be shocked to see a Mason Rudolph warming up at halftime. He's going to start the second half, everybody. Christmas is, like the announcer. It'll probably be somebody, like one of those guys that people make fun of. Like, Christmas has come early. Rudolph is warming up. Like, it'll be a dumb pun. Titans defense is deserving of winning a football game. And if they get Malik Willis, somebody that they have practiced against, know him very well, I just think the tendencies, the chance to sort of like make sure, like, we can't have this guy be traded away, come back a month later into a place where he couldn't win for us and beat us. Like, that defense has too much pride. They're led by one of the scariest people. You ever want to be like, just feel a little like frightened by somebody in an interview? Listen to Jeffrey Simmons talk to people sometimes. It just is, it's frightening. Like, it's like, if this guy was pissed at you, it freaks me out. I get it. Other people are tougher than
Will Levis has basically cost his team 2 wins this year. If you
agree.
Look, oh my God! I love
the mailman, Joe. Like, remember I was just like, I was hyping him up. I said, fantasy, keep your eye on him. He's gonna figure it out. They brought in a lot of weapons for him. It's been brutal these first couple of weeks.
And that's what scares me about. Like, I want to pick the Titans this week. I want to, because I don't think Green Bay has been that good the first 2 games. Like, I don't, and like you said, their game plans haven't been there. Like, and they're kind of predictable a little bit. I'm just like, you're looking at Mayo you're looking at Will Levis. I call him Mayo. You're looking at Will Levis, and you're like, what kind of bonehead mistake are you going to make this week to screw your team over. Like the first one was an interception. Okay, whatever. Interceptions happen. But last week, when you're pitching it, just go down. Just fall down. Don't. Why are we doing this little pitch stuff anymore? And that's horrible to me. And I say all this, and I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. Like I say all this, and I'm going with the Titans.
I'm going with the Titans too. I just I don't like Malik Wilson in this spot against this defense. And maybe he just has the game of his life. He just says, hey, you guys never supported me properly. You didn't believe in me. And he just has his full on sort of Rudy Rudiger moment in this game. I don't see it. The play where Will Levis literally bowled the ball backwards to Tajay Spears in that game. I was like, the decision making is absolutely terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like that play right there is one of the worst plays I've ever seen in NFL history. But it's just a bonehead mistake. Maybe he gets it with your coach calling you out to the media this week. Maybe you finally get it. Maybe you get it. Like, okay, your defense is good enough to keep you in these games, right? Don't make the bonehead mistakes to cost your defense the game. That's the crazy thing. Like that young quarterbacks need to learn is when you have a good defense or a defense good enough to stop the other team from scoring, maybe even just hold them to field goals, you'll get your opportunity. Get back out there, take the loss, go out, and then get back on the sideline. Don't give the other team that kind of just field position. Like it's crazy.
He's the worst decision maker on his team, and his backup quarterback picked a fight with Myles Garrett. Like this is a guy who does not make smart choices. So I wish better things for Will Levis. I want to see him succeed. I think he's fun, exciting. Those commercials were hilarious. Joe, let's go to your team. I'll make this short and sweet. The Panthers are in a bad spot, and I do think that they made the right move to move on from to get Bryce Young out of there. It's really, really, really not operating very well. I think Andy Dalton is better, but I'm going to take the Raiders begrudgingly at home to beat the Panthers. I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that. Can you say it one more time?
Rooting for Andy Dalton to go upside the heads of the Raiders in this game. I want Andy Dalton to have a renaissance where he throws for 3 touchdowns and 260, and the red rifle is back, baby. I don't see it happening. I don't see the defense being that good. I think this is the Zamir White breakout game here. I feel like the Raiders are going to handle this game pretty easily.
Tony, I don't get to do this very often, right? Especially in the last 20 years of my fandom. But I will do this today. Game pick'em of the week right here. Joe's pick of the week and my lock of the week. I'm 1-1 in these, but I'm taking the Raiders as my lock of the week. A lot of people, Tony, and this is what pisses me off. A lot of people coming out and going, Andy Dalton is 4-0 against the Raiders. I don't give a damn about that, his record against the Raiders. A lot of people coming out saying this is a trap game for the Raiders. How can this be a trap game when it's the first home game of the season? You don't think the Raiders are going to get pumped up to come out and play in front of their home crowd this year? And I feel really bad for Bryce Young. I do. I feel really bad for Bryce Young. But, hey, Bryce Young, look at the past quarterbacks of the Panthers and what they're doing now. Look at Baker Mayfield, how he's thriving. Look at Sam Darnold. There's life for you after the Carolina Panthers. But the Raiders' defense is good enough. Andy Dalton he will do and make better decisions than Bryce Young. And that offense will be better this week. But the Raiders defense and the Raiders team as a whole is a lot different. And they're not going to come in here. And maybe the Carolina Panthers hang in just a little bit. But then when it gets to the second half, it's going to be over. But there is questions. Like you got to hope that Gardner Minshew still comes out and does what he did in the second half against the Baltimore Ravens. And that offense can continue to grow. But I'm with you, Tony. Antonio Pierce came out this week and he said, no matter what the Raiders got to do, if they got to change their zone blocking scheme, they got to do whatever they got to do. They got to get Zamir White the ball, and they got to get him 20-plus carries a game. So I'm with you. I think Zamir White breakout game this week. I'm going with Zamir White getting 2 touchdowns this week. I'll be at this game. But the Carolina Panthers, like, really? Like, we've talked about this, Tony. Every week we talk about this. This is the three-peat that nobody's talking about, right? The number one overall pick for the third year in a row could belong somehow to the Carolina Panthers, and it's going to get ugly. I think the Raiders win this game. I said 30-13. That's mine, but you already know. Without Mike here, because if Mike was here, it'd be really crazy because Mike would have to take. Oh, actually, Mike put this as his upset of the week. I don't know if you saw that, Tony, but he's just a straight hater. Mike did put upset of the week with the Carolina Panthers.
Khalil Mullings touchdown. I fully expect Mike to be trolling the Raiders. Mike is in the engagement business, and picking the Panthers to upset the Raiders is a great way for a video for him to get some clicks and potentially go viral.
Okay, so which game are you most certain to predict of your prediction? It's this fucking game right here.
Yep, he locked it. He locked it up. I would have to say, so like, I would go with either Cincinnati or I guess the Raiders in this. Like, I feel really good about that team there. Let's go to the last game. It was funny because somebody came in at the beginning of this and asked us about it, and I was like, you know what? I should just answer the question right now because it's the last game on here. And then we got to talking, and I forgot about it. This is one of those games where I'm very tempted to take the Dolphins, and I am going to take the points for the Dolphins here. I like them to keep it. They're getting 5.5, and I just think that we talk about Skylar Thompson like he doesn't have any experience, like he hasn't been in the system for 3 years now. Like, again, he's not going to be Tua, but can he be good enough to get the ball into the hands of all of those speedy players a few times and those guys go out and make plays for him? Yeah, they can. And I don't think that the Seahawks are like some world beater. So like, I think this game is closer. I think that this game ends up being like 27-24 football game. And the Dolphins are like, hey, we can figure this thing out. Whether we pivot to Tyler Huntley in a couple weeks, like we let him sort of get used to things, get used to the terminology. But I really like Skylar Thompson a little bit better than I think sort of the national media does. Not to say that I think that the team is going to keep winning, but I think they can win enough with Skylar Thompson, and this will prove it in one of those games where it's close and the Dolphins are like just Achane, Hill, Waddle, Wright. They're just getting the ball to these speedy guys and letting them go make plays.
Two
games were a decade ago. Yeah, I agree. Those stats are always kind of funny to me when people like I said, the stat where I saw somebody go, I'm taking the Jaguars because Trevor Lawrence is 2-0 versus the Buffalo Bills. And I was like, what does that have to do with this season? Like, it's not. Nothing. It doesn't make any sense.
Here's my thing, Tony. If the Dolphins were at home or even on the East Coast, I might be willing to take them. But traveling up across country to Seattle, where it's going to be loud with a new quarterback, a young quarterback, and you already have question marks about him, he has the weapons, right? And I understand, and I don't think McDaniels is going to put him in a situation where he's going to fail or wants him to fail. So he's going to give him some easy plays. I think there's just going to be too basic on their offense where it's not going to get it going. And that's the one thing that you want to see from the Miami Dolphins is they don't have the basic offense. Their offense is what's crazy is and scores so many points on you. I think Seattle is able to lock this one up. Geno Smith and the offense started getting it going last week, even without Kenneth Walker. I like the Seattle Seahawks.
I like the Seahawks too, and this is one of those teams where it's like they're 3-0. They're leading the NFC West, potentially over the 49ers by 2 games. Like, I think the 49ers are going to win, but like it's a possibility for that to happen.
The Seahawks could be 2 wins away from whatever I gave them at the
I think I had the Seahawks. I think I had the Seahawks as like a 7 or 8 win team. I got the paper in front of me. I'm not gonna look at it though. The Seahawks they're in a spot, Joe. They're in a spot where it's like you should be able to take care of this team at home and win a game.
Yeah.
And really start to build some momentum for first year head coach. This is I think I texted you guys right away and I was like, Bryce Young's career isn't done. I don't know what's going on with the quarterback situation in Miami. Not going to speculate about it. But if I was him, I would be hoping that I could go there, even if it's as a backup, so that I could be around smart coaching. I could sort of start to rebuild my confidence. That's what all these quarterbacks need. Who, if you're a first pick, even if you thought he should have been the second or third quarterback taken, he still has shown the ability at some point in his life to be able to be at this level and be a good quarterback. And I just think you got to get with the right people. Like, go be with Sean McVay. Maybe you sit behind, Stafford for a year, or go sit in Miami. Maybe sit behind Tua for a year. Go to one of these spots where you can learn some offensive football behind a veteran, behind like good coaching. And I do think Bryce Young is going to reappear in this league in the right spot at a certain point and be able to play some good football in the NFL.
I'm with you. So that's our slate, Tony. We went through every single game.
There it is. All right, Tony's locks of the week with a giant question mark. I'm taking the Giants against the Cleveland plus 6.5. New Orleans minus 2.5. I got Miami plus 5.5, Detroit minus 2.5, and I got the Jags plus 5.5. So I feel good about that. Last week I went 2-3. Was not happy about that, but I'm having fun getting back into keeping track of betting against the spread and seeing how I do before I actually place real money on it again. Because I used to bet on this stuff a lot. Now, not so much. Too much stuff.
So everybody wants you, instead of Bo Nix, you call him Bo Pix from now on, Tony. So
yeah, and I think you could even spell it Pix. Like you could make a Pix Nix graphic. It would make sense. All right, Joe, let's get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy some college football. Enjoy some family. Good food.
Very good.
Tomorrow, remember to put something positive on the internet. Go tweet at one of these guys. Comment on one of their Instagram posts and tell them you believe in them. Tell the, rally behind the boys for Sunday. We got a great weekend. Joe,
is it positive if you go and tweet Bo Nix and be like, hey, Bo Nix, I believe you will throw a pick today? Is that positive?
Go Georgia, go blue. No, that's not positive. Because you're rooting for an outcome that isn't positive for that player. If you say like, I believe you can throw an interception today, like you believe that he can be bad. That's not.
I believe in you. I just know you're gonna fail.
It's not believing in somebody, bro. That is believing that they will be bad. I'm saying go out there to whoever it is. You just say like, hey, you're gonna have a good game. Like if I had Twitter, I would go on and be like, Q, you're the man. You could totally beat Joey Porter Jr. down the field for a touchdown in this game and have all the haters going, wait, maybe we were wrong, including myself.
You can do it.
You can do it. You can catch a touchdown. Georgia, go.
That's
Georgia.
how bad the Panthers are, Tony. Before we leave the air, sorry if you're still on here, Harrison, but that's how bad the Panthers were last week. They made Quentin Johnson look like a good wide receiver. Made him look like a good wide receiver.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to you disparage a young man who's worked hard, had a great game, making plays down the field, reading the coverage, getting open, finding a soft spot in the end zone, 2 touchdowns. Dude's great. Brian G, I don't understand this either. It's one of those situations where you watch it and you go, wait, so you're asking a rookie quarterback to throw 50 times against a D-line that has all of that talent? That didn't seem like a great game plan in a game that wasn't like super out of hand. It wasn't like the Steelers were up 3-4 scores and you had to start, playing that kind of football. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not as smart as Sean Payton. I'm sure there's some sort of madness, where it's like, hey, let's get him reps against the best defense doing this so that as we get to lesser defenses, it's a little bit easier. Maybe that's it. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, Sean Payton's an idiot. I personally wouldn't do it, but maybe there's something behind it. Maybe there's something there. I know that Walmart's got a ton of money and they don't care. They'll pay people to go away. I just don't think if you made a first-round pick investment in Bo Nix, even if it's terrible this year, that it would have to be like, hey, the locker room is saying, this, or we don't really think he's engaged. But if he's fully engaged, you have to give it a second year. I know his fans were impatient, and it's like, you get 48 hours to win. And if you don't, we're out on you. But if you draft his guy at 12 overall, and a lot of people thought he was a second-round pick, you have to give him 2 seasons to figure it out. You have to give them an offseason to put more talent out there. Like, you just have to. You can't go like, oh, well, we're done with this experiment. You have to get new GM, new coach. Now that coach might come in and be like, yeah, Bo Nix ain't it, bro. We need to go back to the drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good winning organizational football. You don't give up on a coach you paid that much money for, who's won a Super Bowl, who has a rookie quarterback. You just have to be patient. The Broncos are still going to win 6-7 games this year. What is it? I could admit they have no wide receivers but Sutton. Again, wide receiver is a spot where like you're contingent on other things. Like I think Josh Reynolds is a good NFL wide receiver. Like he's a good number 3. Troy Franklin could be something. I don't know why Marvin Mims isn't a bigger part of the offense. So they have it there. It's just, and this is just my opinion, Brian, but you have to give it time for everything to work out. And the Broncos, they played the Steelers last week. Who'd the Broncos lose to in week 1? They lost to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Right. So defensive coaches, defensive teams, like they're going to make things difficult for a rookie quarterback. So this week he's getting another defensive coach. It's probably not going to look great. At least I don't think it will. At a certain point, he's going to start to find and catch his rhythm. But I agree. There's some questions there. And it's sort of the whole roster's that way. Like even when you watch the game, it's like Surtain's a great player. What I think Broncos fans are really going to struggle with, Joe, is wait till they get to the trade deadline and it's like, wait, Baron Browning, we're shipping him out, and Zach Allen, we might be shipping him out. It's like they might become sellers at the deadline, and that's something where as fans, it's like tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Which confused me why they didn't run the ball more. I agree, but again, Brian, I think that there's a plan to just say like, hey, we're trying to make this as complex and as difficult as we can to get these looks, these reps, because Sean Payton has to get enough reps out there to go back and teach Bo Nix. You got to take lumps. Like Peyton Manning took some real lumps as a rookie. I know we use him a lot as somebody that's there. Like Andrew Luck won, but he took a lot of lumps as a rookie. Like you have to have actual lessons of tape to learn. That's enough. I got Michigan over here.
Don't you have a game you got to watch? Like, don't you want to watch Michigan lose?
7-0 at the Big House. They're absolutely being physical and welcoming USC to the Big Ten by punching them in the mouth. Oh, shit. It's 4th and 9. They're about to punt. Brian, I appreciate the conversation. Sounds like you're a Broncos fan. I would wish you good luck, but I wouldn't mean it at all because I'm a Chargers fan, brother. So, bolt up. Let's beat the Steelers this weekend. Everybody have a great weekend.